Waltzing Matilda is a fantastic Australian folk tune. Most people know it because of the rugby, and no matter how slow you play it, it still sounds really beautiful, which is one of the reasons for choosing it for today. It's based over some really simple chords we should all be familiar with a few variations, starting with our G major chord, our regular C major chord, and our D major chord. That variation I was talking about comes on our G major chord. We're going to introduce our third or ring finger onto the third fret of the second string, which is a D note. And later on I'll explain some subtle changes of how we finger those chords to make the melody easier to play. Always our first step with any of these fingerstyle arrangements of folk tunes as a solo player is to make sure that we can play the melody really clearly and well before we start thinking about chords and adding any harmony to it. So going straight into it, starting on the B string, and be very careful for that hammer on that I've added just for a little bit of flavour to the piece. Once you can play through the melody cleanly following the tab and you've got it under your fingers really well, just try starting to build in the root notes of the chords we're playing over, just once. So starting off with a pinching technique, Now, I'm not expecting you to play the whole thing with arpeggiation and all. Just start off adding one root note at a time. Particularly getting that low G bass note in there. Firstly, that forces your hands into the correct position to start getting used to playing the melody with your little finger and your first finger, because you'll notice how much of this tune depends on my ring finger sticking just on that G note and moving between the bass notes. There's not a lot of movement in my hand, even though my fingers are doing an awful lot. I hope that's helped. A lot of the techniques in this, breaking the pieces into sections with melody, harmony and rhythm, apply to all solo acoustic fingerstyle playing. And the best way to exercise these techniques is to pick a really simple song, particularly where you know the chords really well, and see if you can pick out your own melody and then putting the two together. We'll end with a really slow version so you can see what my fingers are doing and get used to how this sounds. Hope that helped.